Hey y'all, I hope all is well. I'm gonna try not to hold y'all too long. But anyway, I wanted to talk about balancing the scales, right? And I think I talked about I'm not sure if it was in which video it was in. I don't know if it was in choices or if it was in, I might have touched on it in choices, but most definitely probably balance is the key or whatnot. So check those out if you haven't already. But basically wanted to talk about the heart and the mind, right? Because a lot of times when we make decisions based on one or the other. When in reality, what we should be doing is using both of them equally. The issue is that we sometimes we get in a rush, or sometimes we do things without thinking, or sometimes we just so used to operating from one or the other, okay? So, and a lot of times too, we operate out of fear, right? Or because you don't really understand yourself, that you end up operating in one thing and you really should be operating in another, or learning how to operate in things to have a balance when it comes to things, because a lot of people are all over the place. They have no real balance, and trust me, it took me years to be able to have balance when it comes to how do I make my decisions, how do I make the healthiest decisions. And I'm gonna try my best to break it down and help you out as best as I can. So hopefully after the video, you'll be able to make healthier decisions when you do, especially find yourself having to make certain decisions. So when it comes to certain situations and things, if you think about it, you have two minds, right? You have your actual mind and you have your heart, which is another way that you think, right? So your heart is considered a mind as well, right? We can also say that your heart is also another pair of eyes, right? Because your heart see things as well as your mind have the ability to see things, right? But sometimes your mind have the ability to see things, but they can't articulate what your heart is seeing, right? Meaning it can't really effectively perceive exactly what is it that you're seeing, which really would be what you're feeling, because what you're feeling is still another way of seeing. It's just not in 3D, right? So that's why it's very important to have a good relationship with self, understand yourself, so you won't get confused and make decisions with the head and not the heart. And the reason why I talk about balance, because it's very important that you don't get so into that you make mind decisions with heart decisions, or heart decisions with mind decisions, and they both should be on an equal scale. Whenever you make a decision, it should come from two places. You talk it over with your heart as well as your mind, because sometimes we be so logical that we miss things. Even when our heart is telling us one thing, we totally ignore, because really your heart is, like I said, your GPS. You totally ignore what you feel, because 9 out of 10, you haven't spent time with yourself. and probably you haven't spent time with yourself because you don't like yourself, right? So a lot of times we spend time with ourselves, but we really ain't even, we with ourselves the most, but we really ain't spending time with ourselves. So the more you spend time with yourself, then you will understand, and you will never ever, okay, ignore how you feel, because how you feel is going to tell you the truth. Now, whether you listen to how you feel, what your heart is saying about any particular situation, is on you, right? And a lot of times, like I said, a lot of people ignore their heart because, for one, you've been contaminated, you've been damaged, you've been hurt, so you don't want to trust your heart. And also, we living in a generation that teaches you to be numb. It teaches you to not be in your feelings. It frown on people that get caught up in their feelings. So we're living in a generation that want to ignore our feelings, and that's the real reason why we make bad decisions, because you're not paying attention to the key indicator that's going to tell you everything you need to know. And I'll give you an example. So for instance, anytime when I'm trying to make a decision or I'm feeling some type of way, anxious, particularly at that, instead of making a head decision, because a lot of times I want to do stuff, okay? My head will tell me, oh, you need to do this. My ego, okay? My ego would tell me, hey, don't do that, do this, I don't care how they feel, this and that. But my heart be like, nah, I don't do that, you know, because it's gonna come back, right? You don't mistreat people, or you don't act a certain way because you're gonna regret it, right? When I be like, you know, get to really thinking about it, see, that's me using both my mind and my head, you know, because I can get in my feelings and act a certain way on you, and then my head say, no, think this through, because if you do this, you're gonna regret it, right? So that was an indicator of me using my mind and my head both together equally, because even though my feelings told me, because of how I felt, which, like I said too, you have to understand what's permanent and what's temporary, because that's an indicator too on how you should move. Because a lot of times people get confused thinking they feel a certain way, right? Thinking it means a certain thing when it's only temporary, meaning as it's probably not even your feelings, right? It's probably a spirit or something, or somebody else's energy, right? A lot of stuff ain't even us, and we confuse it with us. So meaning what I'm saying, like, you got like anger, like that's something that you operate in. That's a spirit, basically, the spirit of anger. Even fear, it come and go. Anything that come and go, anything that's not permanent is a spirit, okay? Or energy, however you want to look at it, however you want to call it. So you really have to be very careful when you get into trying to make decisions based on things that are temporary feelings. That's why you don't make subtle decisions, because you don't, especially if you're not sure if it's what you know or what you think you know, right? Because like I said, it's different, and it can be very tricky, and over years and over time you will get better with these things as you grow and you mature or whatnot. But going back to the heart and the mind, it's very important that you use both of them equally, because if they talk to each other, then oh yeah, you good. Because when you know how to use your head, and not only that you use your head, but you use your heart equally, and you know how to use both of those two things and make them talk to each other, oh, you A1 or whatnot, and your decisions gonna be on the money for the most part. Now, here and there, at the end of the day, some stuff, it's hit or miss or whatnot, but majority of the time, you're gonna be straight. So sometimes you can't let your head fool you and talk yourself out of stuff. It's just like somebody else telling you how you supposed to feel, or what you need to do. You get what I'm saying? Because think about it. A lot of times when we do seek advice, we seek people information outside of us and to other people, and we ask them. Guess what? Half of y'all, and you'll be lying if you say you didn't. Half of y'all already got made up in your mind what you want to do. Even if you ain't completely made it up in your mind, your heart already telling you what you need to do. So basically, somebody else just gonna be confirmation, or either they'll talk you out of how you already, what you truly feel. Okay? And that's the danger of going outside of yourself for answers. But like I said, when you know, a rookie trying to learn how to use both, because like I said, a lot of people kind of numb, and that's why their decisions off, because you numb and you haven't dealt with the matter at heart. We're dealing with the hurt or whatever issues that you got. So it's hard to trust yourself, and not only that, none of the decisions that you'll make will be trustable, okay? Because of, I mean, by default, you're not in a good place. So your decisions are gonna be made. Your decisions are really gonna tie into where you are in your life. You're in a good place, then you'll make better decisions. And we talked about this in the last video. But it's very important, like I said, that you don't let your head talk you out of stuff. Like, for instance, this is a key indicator for me. So in past jobs, when I get a job and I be like, I'm so sick of this job, I'm ready to go, right? But on the flip side, even though this is what my head is saying, this is what my ego is saying, I'm tired of these folks, they getting on my nerves, it's time to go. My heart is telling me, no, Alice, stay in place. Stay grounded. Stay in place, right? So what I mean about my heart is telling me, meaning I haven't felt a release, right? Whenever you feel a release, then that's your heart of telling you, excusing you, your heart granting you permission to go. Whether it's letting go a person, is giving you permission to let that person go. So how do you check that, right? You have peace. That release is your peace, okay? That will initiate peace for you. That release will do that for you. But like I said, your head will talk you into some stuff that it'll mess you up if you listen to only your head. That's why you have to use both of them and stop making head over heart decisions and heart over head decisions, and use them both equally. And know yourself well enough to know that, nah, this is just my alter ego talking, or this is my ego, I'm just in my feelings, or I'm just in my head right now, that this ain't the best move or whatnot. So like I said, whenever you have that release, then you're able to, you know, release a thing, move, because your heart will grant you that passage to be able to do that thing. And like I said, your confirmation is you're having peace with it, right? But if you don't have peace with it, then they let you know that you moved beforehand and you made a bad decision. That's the only time that well, that's when you will know. But on the flip side, like I was saying, sometimes we get ahead of things. We try to get ahead of God, or we try to get ahead of ourselves and start doing stuff ourselves, and then we mess up. So that's your way to know. It's just like I said, practice make perfect. And sometimes, you know, it's just is what it is. You got to mess up so you can grow up and get it together. So I hope this helped you guys, because like I said, I try to follow my heart on things, listen to my heart, because I understand that it's all about your heart. Will definitely is the key, right? It's the thing that's gonna get you where you need to be. You know, it's the GPS. So I mean, you got to think about it. It's the most important organ in your body. So why aren't you listening to it? Without the heart, you dead. Without the heart, you will die. Guess what? You don't need the mind to be alive. You might not be able to think. You might be brain dead. Like, think about it. When you got people that's brain dead in a coma, they still alive, and people have to pull the plug, right? Because they won't die, because their heart still work. So what I'm saying is, listen to your heart. It will tell you everything you need to know. In everyday situations, how you feel about certain things, it will definitely tell you. So stop letting your head talk you out of what your heart already know. And that's why we get confused with things, because like I said, we don't want to use our heart. We're afraid of using it because we think if we use it, we'll get hurt. Or we don't think it works because it's been hurt. But guess what? At the end of the day, hey, if you still breathing, then I'm pretty sure that your heart is still good, and you still should consider using it or whatnot, because that's what's gonna get you where you need to be. That's your vehicle. Okay, it's the most precious or whatnot. And I'm trying to find that scripture right quick, because like I said, it's the hardest thing to do, to learn how to balance both of these things. It's not the easiest thing, I'm telling you. Like I said, it took me years, because sometimes, you know, we get so stubborn and we be like, I don't care what you think, this and that, this is how I feel, and this is what it's gonna be, and that's what mess you up. You know what I mean? So what is it? I'm trying to find a guard your heart scripture. So Proverbs 4:23. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. And that is true, I promise you. So like I said, guard it, but don't be so guarded that you won't use it, you know, because that's where a lot of us mess up. Never be so damaged or so hurt that you stop using your heart, because guess what? When you stop using it, you die, you know. And maybe not physically, but you will spiritually, you know. So I mean, so I hope that this helped you, and y'all have a great day.